You guys, a lot is going on right now. Kamala Harris sat down for an interview. Donald Trump complained about furniture. The mayor of New York City got indicted. For more on all these stories, it's time for a closer and very frenetic look. There's a lot of news and it just keeps happening. So we're going to bounce around a bit in this closer look because we're feeling good and riding the vibes. But I would be remiss if I didn't start with my favorite news of the day, featuring my favorite outer borough wombat, Rudy Giuliani. Oh, Rudy, I miss you, old friend. Where have you been lately?
America!
As you may be aware, Rudy's had some difficulties over the last few years with legal trouble and bankruptcy as a consequence of his time serving as Donald Trump's law goblin and personal chia pet. But things got even worse for him on Thursday when he permanently lost his ability to practice law in the nation's capital.
Rudy Giuliani was just disbarred in Washington, D.C. months after he also lost his license to practice law in New York after pursuing false claims that former President Trump won the 2020 election.
Terrible news for Rudy. I mean, if he even understands it. Rudy, you've been disbarred. Oh, no, I can't go to disbar? Where am I going to get my whiskey? Oh, I guess I can try that bar. Rudy's already been disbarred in New York. Now he's disbarred in D.C. If this keeps up, the only place he'll be allowed to practice law is on that giant Great Pacific garbage island made of plastic bottles. Excuse me, Mr. Walrus. I saw you got rear-ended by that barge full of Mountain Dew. Here's my card. Sorry, it's written on a seashell, but the fax number is current. Maybe Rudy can start a new show on NBC called Chicago Lawyer. Tonight, an all-new episode, a murder mystery is sparked when the police find Rudy's body on the L until they realize that he's just passed out on his way home from Dat Bar. Will they poke him or leave him be? And why are his pants wet? Did he pee himself again? Find out tonight on NBC at 8 or 9 or 10. We don't know when it airs because Rudy can't tell time. And yeah, we know that's the sound effect for Law & Order and not Dick Wolf's Chicago franchise, but NBC has made it clear that due to budget cuts, we only get the Law & Order sound effect. And we have to use it anytime we mention any NBC show. Look, what can I say? They're not just my bosses, they're also my friends. So Rudy's been disbarred. Man, this has got to be the worst thing to happen to a New York City mayor today. Wait, what's that?
New York Mayor Eric Adams was indicted on bribery and fraud charges in connection with contributions to his 2021 campaign. The indictment was unsealed in the past hour and accuses the mayor of accepting illegal foreign campaign contributions and bribes in exchange for preferential treatment.
Imagine how corrupt you have to be to make history as the first sitting mayor to be indicted in a city where this guy was also the mayor. Imagine having to call Rudy to ask, you never got indicted as mayor. What's your secret? Man, what a week for New York. Trump and Biden were both here. The UN General Assembly is in town. Rudy disbarred. Adams indicted. The VP debate is in Manhattan next week. And the Mets got rained out in Atlanta in the middle of a playoff race. And by the way, I could give a about the Mets' fortunes. But Closer Look writer Sal Gentile is a huge fan. He's very upset, and he begged me to channel my inner New Yorker for a second. Hey, Hurricane Helene, let me tell you something. You knock down trees and dump rain on Florida all you want, but you mess with the Mets in the middle of a playoff hunt, or you're going to have some problems, capiche? We're trying to line up our pitching rotation, you jabroni. Maybe I'll have to introduce you to some of my guys, if you know what I mean, like my security guys, John and Jim. Let's just say they ain't afraid of no wind. Jim's so strong, he's got a side job as the foul pole at Citi Field. Anyway, back to Adams. There's so much we could say about him, and we don't have a ton of time, but it's worth pointing out that many centrist and right-wing pundits have pegged him as a rising star in the Democratic Party because of his hardline stances on police and crime. At one point, New York public libraries were forced to close on Sundays due to budget cuts while the NYPD was rolling out completely useless police robots. And I just really hope that when Adams turned himself in, that's who was greeting him at the station. Eric, this hurts me as much as it hurts you. But the thing Adams is perhaps best known for is just like being super weird. During the campaign, he was accused of living in New Jersey and gave a tour of his suspiciously empty apartment in Brooklyn. He once filmed a video teaching parents how to search their children's room for drugs. And he coined this infamous saying that has puzzled and mystified New Yorkers.
All I know is all my haters become my waiters when I sit down at the table of success.
What? That sounds like the first draft of something a WWE wrestler would yell into the camera. My haters become my waiters when I sit down at the table of success. Wait a minute. Let me start over. My haters are like waiters because when they ask if anyone at the table has allergies, I tell them I'm allergic to losing. Nope, that's no good either. Forget the waiter thing. I'm going to beat you in wrestling, brother. There we go. That's better. The Adams indictment was unsealed today, and however bad you think the details are, they are so much worse.
It's a sprawling indictment of 5 counts over 57 pages. They detail what they say are allegations that Mayor Eric Adams just broke the law. And part of what they're saying in terms of receiving illegal campaign contributions, that they hid them by saying that they were coming from New Yorkers or American citizens, instead of saying these contributions were coming from foreign nationals.
There are text messages where there are discussions about these illegal contributions, and at one point the staffer says, you know, I don't know that Mayor Adams is really going to want to take part of this. I don't know that he's going to want to play games here. And then after it says, well, and then the staffer went to Mayor Adams, and Mayor Adams says, yeah, go ahead, do it, after it was explained. The staffer and Mayor Adams have a really interesting exchange where the staffer says, I hope you're deleting these messages, and he said, always do.
They deleted their text messages and still got caught texting each other to delete your text messages. Man, corrupt politicians are getting so much dumber. What happened to unmarked bills stuffed in manila envelopes and secret meetings in parking garages? Why are you doofuses writing all this down in a text like it's one of those desperate fundraising messages? Hi, Seth, this is Eric Adams, and I need your help. Are you from a foreign country? By illegally donating just $100,000 through a straw donor, you can help my campaign today. It's against the law, so don't tell. Text yes to give, no to delete, and help to send a copy of this message to the feds. So the sitting Democratic mayor of New York City has been indicted, which really undercuts Donald Trump's claim that he can't get a fair trial in New York because it's biased against Republicans.
We have been given a very unfair trial there, too. I don't get very fair trials in New York.
It's a very, very liberal Democrat area. And so I knew we were in deep trouble. Of course, they'd only bring cases in areas like that. This was a venue that was very unfair. It's a tiny fraction of the people are Republicans. And it's very unfair. You heard me say long before the verdict that Mother Teresa couldn't get a fair trial here. I said that.
Oh. Was Mother Teresa also running a scam where she paid hush money to a porn star during a presidential campaign and illegally recorded it as a business expense to hide it from voters? We all remember when she got indicted for stealing classified documents and sneaking them on board her private jet. They just indicted the sitting Democratic mayor. I think it's safe to say they're not gunning for Republicans. It has less to do with your political party and more to do with being corrupt, because New Yorkers can sniff out a scam anywhere. We all know when you see a dude selling handbags on the street to double check the label. Oh, it's not a coach, it's a cooch. Hey! It's just as good. Besides, you think New Yorkers have time to go after you because you're a Republican? New Yorkers have more important things to worry about, like rats stealing our pizzas or cockroaches smoking cigarettes on the subway. Can you believe the Mets got rained out? This hurricane blows harder. Well, you hear my joke. Don't start laughing. Yeah, I'll tell you my joke. This hurricane blows harder than Eric Adams. Yeah. I'm going back to the subway. So in the end, Eric Adams is not the future of the Democratic Party. That turned out to be Kamala Harris. Segue! Harris sat down for an in-depth policy-focused interview on MSNBC Wednesday where she was asked about her opponent's absurd claim that he would be a protector of women.
He said he will be the protector of women if elected. Can you respond to that?
So Donald Trump.
That's it. I mean, that's all she had to say. All you have to do in response to that question is say the words Donald Trump, and you can hear how patently ridiculous it is. And it's even more ridiculous when you hear Trump say it himself.
You will no longer be abandoned, lonely, or scared. You will no longer be in danger. You're not going to be in danger any longer. You will no longer have anxiety from all of the problems our country has today. You will be protected, and I will be your protector.
And look, I know that sounds bad, but after those comments, he opened a commanding polling lead among stalker husbands from Lifetime movies. That sounded like a speech you deliver through a window on the night of a rainstorm.
You will no longer be abandoned, lonely, or scared. You will no longer be in danger. You're not going to be in danger any longer. You will no longer have anxiety from all of the problems our country has today. You will be protected, and I will be your protector.
Yeah, no, he's here. He's still here. Personally, I would not want Donald Trump as a protector of anything, given how he talks about inanimate objects, let alone people. Here he is at what was supposed to be an economic speech the other day, talking about a chart.
I have a chart that's my all-time favorite. I love that. Is it around? Is it around? I love that chart. I sleep with that chart every night. I kiss it.
Well, this is what happens when your wife doesn't come on the road with you. It was bad enough he goes looking for a chart and he can't find it, but then his save is to just do a pantomime of what? Him hooking up with the chart? Maybe you can't find the chart because it's changed its name and moved to a new city. It's the plot of the new Lifetime movie, My Chart Will Go On. You can't run for me, chart. I need you. When you're not with me, it knocks me off my axis. Chart joke. Thursday, closer look, baby. It's when we do all this stuff that don't fit early in the week. Seriously, though, let's just step back and remember that for months, it was the biggest story in politics when Joe Biden flubbed a word. Go back one, Wally. Yep, now we got to put a camera on Wally's card. Fubbed. Fubbed a word. You on purpose spelled a word about saying words wrong. Setting traps for me? You're setting traps for me? Now nobody's gonna remember how good that access joke went. Meanwhile, everybody was upset because Biden flubbed words. Meanwhile, this dude's hugging the air, pretending it's a chart. I'm starting to think Trump is actually acting as insane as he possibly can on purpose so he doesn't have to be president for another 4 years. It's like he's trying to get out of jury duty. Hey, juror number 12, is there any reason why you could not render an impartial verdict? No reason, unless a chart is entered into evidence, in which case I will jump from the jury box and try to that chart. Juror 12 is free to go. Trump's speech was supposed to be about the economy in the crucial battleground state of North Carolina. Here is what he ended up focusing on instead.
There was no place for furniture in particular, like North Carolina. You were the furniture capital of the world, but now so much of that business has been stolen from you, and it's made in China and other places. And by the way, it's not as good. The quality is nowhere near. You made furniture. You bought a chair. It was good for 30 years. You buy some of these chairs that they sell you now, they break after about 2 months. The people are laying on the floor, suing you for giving a bad chair. Then on top of it all, our government keeps them out. Then on top of it all, you get sued because they fell out of a chair at a hotel.
So did that happen to you on top of all your legal issues? Are you currently being sued because people keep falling out of chairs at your hotels? Bad news, Mr. Trump. Jack Smith just refiled in the documents case. I don't have time for that now. We just had another tipper over at Mar-a-Lago. Leg broke on the chair, and then the dude cracked his head on the marble floor. By the way, I think he did it on purpose. The whole time he was eating a steak, he was rocking side to side. I love when Trump takes an insane scenario that is clearly very specific to him and pretends like it happens to everyone. The chairs are no good anymore. You sit in them and they break, and then you're on the floor hugging and kissing a chart, and then you get sued by someone who stayed in your hotel, and then you want to countersue. He knows what I'm talking about, but you can't countersue because your lawyer's been disbarred. Trump's claim that he was being persecuted for being a Republican was obviously absurd, but it's even more ridiculous now that the sitting Democratic mayor of New York has been indicted. Maybe Trump, Rudy, and Adams can form a support group. Politicians facing legal consequences who are feeling
abandoned, lonely, or scared.
There's been a closer look.